anyone who'd like to tell their story or share their story. It's a human nature to we all want to be remembered. We all want to be remembered. We don't want to be forgotten. That's why perhaps why we're terrified by death. We don't even know. Maybe it's great on the other side. We don't know. We don't know. Now, I want to switch gears and talk about still talk about the information we receive and what kind of information we need to listen to, or how we need to drill into the information and get a good understanding of it so we can analyze the information. Yesterday I listened to the White House briefing in regards to, it's also beginning of the week 2. And I listened to it just to see, for me, it's a reliable source. I mean, if I don't believe the government that I live in these times, who am I going to believe? And if I'm going to believe that other mumbo jumbo that's going on out there, how am I going to fare? I belong to this country. I'm a citizen of this country. So it's almost my obligation to listen to what the country is saying. The representative of the state is saying. That is my obligation, to get that information. Not listen to it from Yahoo News or something. Like, why would you get news from a place called Yahoo anyway? How serious is Yahoo? But in that, they advised the main talk was changing of habits, changing of social habits. Because one of the journalists during the White House briefing, he was concerned whether these press conferences were going to be stopped due to the social distancing rules and whatnot. And the topic of our habits changing came up, and they talked about, we need to wash our hands, make sure, the handshakes, especially in a government or in any bureaucracy environment. There's a lot of handshaking because there are lots of deals are being made. There's lots of meet and greets. They were saying, well, maybe we need to kind of review all that, and talking about the conversation of changing habits was strictly based around these social habits. And I started to think, why are we not talking about changing our personal habits? Personal habits, what do I mean by personal habits? How about looking after ourselves? How about making sure that we exercise every day? How about making sure that we eat food that's good fuel for our body? That takes discipline. Changing habits calls for discipline. And discipline means, regardless of how you feel, you follow through a plan and you have faith in the long-term gain. I wish when the elders of the country are on TV advising people about changing habits, I wish we focused on that. personal love, personal care, exercising, eating good food, engaging with positive activities. One thing I read, a bunch of people are making memes and whatnot, and someone said, think about your social isolation and think about 3 weeks ago versus today. If not much has changed in your life, that says a lot about how isolated you are. And if you're upset right now, more reason to look into this. Because I'm laughing at these things. Because for me, these are such simple mathematical questions. If I exercise, if I eat good food, chances are my immune system is going to be stronger. And I can endure these viruses and other illnesses better. If I move and if I feed myself good fuel, chances are my brain function is going to be better. This is very simple. You know this. I don't have to tell you this. But are you doing it? If you're not doing it, chances are now you're going, I ain't giving, people have conditions, blah, blah, blah. Listen, those conditions exist because of being a lard ass. I come from a family of diabetes and cancer patients. And all those folk, some of them lived a long life, very long life, because they adhered to the rules of self-care. They did what the doctors told them. Exercise, watch what you eat, stay away from alcohol. I mean, let's not get stupid. Go have a drink with a friend of yours. But you don't need to drink a whole bottle of wine. You don't. How is your day going to be tomorrow? You think you're going to have some spring in your feet to bounce off and just dance around and do your exercises? I doubt it. I doubt it. Doesn't work like that. So you need to look after yourself. You can say, hey, fuck off. Who are you to tell me to do that? I don't know. You listen to it this far. But you can make the change. It's up to you. No one can make those changes for you. No one can make those changes for you. You are the change. I know I sound like hey, this can segue into something. Like, you've heard everything I've said before in the same phrases that I've said it. Because I steal these phrases. The reason I steal these phrases, it's because this language doesn't belong to me. I didn't grow up with it. I learned it by listening to other people, and every time someone says something a lot better than I do, I take that on because it's a lot more efficient way for me to get to a message across. Music is the same way. I cannot stand these conversations where people accuse each other, oh, you're stealing this, you're stealing that. Anybody's musical career at the very, very beginning, you're just a cover band. You're a cover band. You're learning what was said before you, so later you can figure out what to say when you have something to say. Language works the same way. If I want to provoke an emotion and someone has done that so gracefully, I will grab their phrase and use it. I have to. Or else whatever I'm trying to say becomes a mumbo jumbo, a long-winded sentence that you probably will lose interest in. When I was learning jazz, my mentor, God bless him, Mr. Friedman, he always said, steal from the best. If you're gonna steal, steal from the best. Who are the best people around you that you can steal from? You can steal good habits. Here we go. Why not? Who's going to come after you if you steal good habits from someone? I'll tell you who's going to tell you, who's going to get mad at you if you steal good habits from someone. Your roommates, they're going to get mad at you. They're going to say, oh, you're trying to be like such and such. Hey man, if the habit you're stealing is making you a better person, a healthier person, your roommates will be the first ones to notice that. Then it'll be your household, your friends. If you're stealing from the best to get better, I think it's open season. As long as you're not hurting anybody, stealing, I keep saying stealing, it has such a negative sound to it. But as long as you're not hurting anyone, nothing wrong with copying and stealing somebody else's good habit. There are so many people out there that are giving away information. They're giving away information. They're telling you how exactly they did it. They put the work in. Every day. They did a little bit, but they did it every day. Let's talk about my bass. I started taking bass seriously in 2015. Prior to that, I was like, if 7 years ago was my first gig, that will put us back to 2013. I was just noodling around in my living room and taking lessons from one of the best bass players that I have ever met with, Mr. Steve Hoffman, here in Santa Rosa. Great mentor too. Not that he knows how to play bass, but you can talk to him about anything, and he will use music as an analogy to give you, or to show you different angles to the same thing. In my world, that's a great mentor. Showing different paths to get to the same result it's a great way to teach someone. Because not every path is suitable for everyone. But knowing that there are alternative paths to get to a place, and someone can break it down to you, it's amazing. Talking about discipline and how believing in the process. So in 2013, I started, tinkering, going out there, looking for people to jam with, and I was looking for people to play with. And I kept getting shut down in this county because people or established musicians, they didn't want to have anything to do with me. Perhaps they didn't have time to teach anybody, they didn't have time to hold hands with anyone, and or they didn't take me seriously. So I went back to Steve and I said, hey man, like I'm really struggling to find people to play with. He said, you need to change your energy. I said, what do you mean by that? He said, well, you need to go out there and tell people that you want to play with, that you have a band, and ask them if they would want to play in that band. I said, but I don't have a band. He goes, well, here's how you can have a band. Go learn 20 songs. Basically build 2 sets of a show that you are proficient in. That becomes your band's set. And then you can present this to other musicians. And if they're better than you, they're going to figure it out anyway. So you'll end up playing with people who are better than you, and that's going to improve your game. But he said it takes discipline because now you need to teach yourself these first 20 songs. See, not that he gave me a target, he also gave me a goalpost to get to that target. So there can be many goalposts to a target, but the target is to play with others. The target, and I'm not saying the target was, I'm saying target is. My target is always to play with other people. Because I'm human. You are human. We are social animals. And in isolation, we're very, very prone to lose our minds. Very much so. It's so easy. So I did all that. I put together my set list. And all of a sudden I had a band. And someone who saw this effort, before I could book my first gig, someone saw this effort of mine and invited me out to play my first gig 7 years ago today. And that all came with the energy shift. My energy was, nobody wants to play with me, to, I have a band, I need to establish a band, will you play with me? They're two different energies. And its outcome speaks for itself. The discipline part, when I took this one, the upright bass, seriously, in 2015, I had one. It was sitting just like that in the corner and I wasn't practicing it at all. And I said, I need to put my feet, just like what Steve did to me. Now I learned that behavior. And I said, I got to put my feet to the fire, create some sort of an obligation to practice the big boy. And I went and signed up with the JC. Took the first jazz improv class. I was the dumbest person in the room. 4 semesters later, I became an award-winning bassist. I started doing studio work. I started getting invitations to play with big bands or sit in for other bands. I started playing with in musicals, musical pit bands. My band, Disclaimer, which is this picture belongs to, it's been gigging out there, having a good time. It was all matter of changing my energy and believing in the target, the process, not just the wins. The wins, we're always craving for someone to say, oh, you did great. Oh, you did a great job. Did you do a great job? You know deep in heart when you do a great job or when you don't do a great job. Are you always doing a great job? I don't think so. I don't think so. But what do you do with that? Do you go, I did a great job, I don't have to do shit anymore? Or do you go, there's room for improvement. Let me chip away a little bit more today. It's a matter of creating those good habits, and this is a great time to do so. Most of us are not going to be the same after all this social isolation. It's going to take a minute. But don't forget, your previous habits are pretty ingrained in your who you are. So it's going to take a minute to replace them with the new ones. Or else the old ones are just going to resurface when everything goes back to normal. Well, it's all up to you. You're the only one who can make a difference in your life. And when you're not, but you walk around like you do, I'm laughing at you. I'm laughing at you because I struggle from the same stuff every day. I'm not Mr. Perfect. I forced myself to stand in front of the camera today to do this. Yesterday, oh, by the way, yesterday I wanted to do one of these, but I had this splitting headache. This flat light when it's rainy kills me. And I'm like, man, and I have to stare straight into a light to create a good picture. I mean, good picture. I mean, how good is that picture, right? But like a good lighting for the quality of the recording. And yesterday, I'm prone to have migraine headaches, and it was a full-blown migraine headache, and I couldn't even think straight. And I was bummed about not being able to record this episode. But then I told myself, well, you can perhaps write out an outline instead of staring at screens. Just look at, simple paper and pencil. Go old school, so you're still productive, so you're not chewing your head with negativity because you didn't do what you want to do. So I replaced it, but I still did it, even though I didn't feel good. If you base on everything, doing things, if you're always basing on how you feel about it, I don't think you're going to get done much. Sometimes your feelings change after you start doing something. So, I hope this was entertaining. I hope this helped you kill almost an hour in these times. And I hope this pushes you to think about your day-to-day life in a different light. Because, and if you're saying, oh, my life is perfect, fuck you, well, then I'm glad I was able to keep you here for the last 55 minutes. Thank you for listening. And if you like to talk to me about anything, you can email me at bookofengin@gmail.com. Book of Engin is also on Podbean, and also the ones I upload to Podbean appears under the iTunes one. So if you have any type of Apple product that has the podcast icon, you can click on that and look up Book of Engin and find me there. If you like to talk, if you like me to, touch certain things, you have questions, feel free to reach out, and have a wonderful day. Stay busy. Busy is good. Bye-bye.